Hi, folks. This is Jason Moore here with MTGOacademy.com, welcoming you to the latest installment of This is Mono Red Goblins. It's a deck that you're probably familiar with, and if you're not that familiar with it, I bet you can kind of figure out exactly what this deck is all about in no time flat. This is a tribal aggro deck that has been around in the format since I've been playing it, and probably years and years before I started playing Pauper. And it's a deck that exists in Legacy. It's kind of permeated several formats, be they eternal or rotating, and it's one of the more beloved tribes in Magic. I would assume, I would believe so. So I think you probably have a general idea of how this works. It's not one of the most prominent strategies in the format right now, and even in terms of aggressive strategies, I think it's somewhere in the middle, not at the top of the heap, but certainly not a horrible choice. But we'll have to wait and see how these matches play out to really determine that. I'm just going to break this down in hopefully a succinct manner. You want to be playing a very low curve, meaning 1 and 2 drops, primarily 1 drops in this deck, and a low land count, so you have a high density of threats. Most of the aggressive strategies that work really well in Pauper are swarm strategies. At least right now, what we're seeing is you want to present a lot of threats and a lot of damage in a very quick and efficient manner, so that you can keep up with the decks playing Peregrine Drake combo, and you can keep up with the decks that are trying to keep up with the decks playing Peregrine Drake combo. So that's why you're seeing Stompy and Elves, and even Affinity can swarm the board and explode with a number of threats in a turn and have this huge board presence. That it has a swarm component to it. So this is somewhat in the spirit of those decks, but it has different types of utility. It can do some different things. Anyway, back to the low land count. You'll see people go down to 17 lands in Goblins. Typically, I run 18. For this particular version, I'm running 19 because I have a few more 3 drops than I'm used to having. And I'm testing out a card called Searing Blaze, which requires us to trigger landfall, which means we need to hit the land drop right at the time that we play this. We'll get to that in a second. So we got 19 mountains. All of our lands come into play untapped. We're trying to get on the board very quickly. We want to turn 1 threat every single game, and then we want to follow that up with 2 threats, ideally afterwards. So our turn 1 threats are Mog Conscripts, Goblin Cohort. These are functionally the same card. They're Isamarus, if you will. They're not legendary. And they require us to cast a creature every turn we want them to attack. So we basically need to cast a creature every turn of the game. You'll notice that we're playing 35 creatures, so we have a strong chance of doing that, particularly in those early turns. It'll help us out. Also, sort of bolstering our turn 1 threat suite, we have Foundry Street Denizen. This guy works well alongside Cohort and Conscripts because he's going to get bigger and attack for more damage for every creature that actually resolves and hits the battlefield. He also synergizes well with Mog War Marshal because Mog War Marshal makes tokens when it enters the battlefield and dies. Synergizes okay with Goblin Heel Cutter because we can dash Goblin Heel Cutter in and out of the battlefield every turn if we want. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Other turn 1 threats that aren't as threatening but have great utility later in the game are Goblin Sledder and Mog Raider. I'm playing 4 and 3. Sometimes you'll see everybody max out of 4 and 4, and I don't know if there is or why people feel that you need 8 copies of this effect. It's a decent effect, but just to be playing 1/1s for 1 otherwise when the effect doesn't help as much, I don't see why necessarily 8 is the right number. So I've constantly shifted with lower numbers of this effect. But basically what it does for you is anytime one of your creatures gets blocked or is going to die from a removal spell or in combat, you can sacrifice it to give one of your other attackers or blockers a boost in toughness. So let's say they're sweeping the board with a shrivel. You can sacrifice creatures that were already going to die and save around half of your board from dying. So that's a good use for him. He's really good when, let's say, you have 6 attackers, they have 5 blockers, and they're at a low life total. Well, just that one guy they don't block can get through, and you can sack all of your board to that one guy and get a lethal attack in. So he can help you steal some games. And then he gets around certain echoing spells and stuff like that. There's other niche uses for him, or something like Tendrils of Corruption. If they're gonna deal X damage to a creature and gain X life, you could sacrifice the creature. It's gonna die anyway, and then they don't gain life. That kind of thing. So those are our 1 mana threats in a nutshell. So that would be 12 plus 7 would be 19 1 mana threats. Don't really want to cast Bushwhacker for 1, so we'll get to him next. Let's move on to the 2 mana threats, and we will include Bushwhacker in this discussion. I talked about Mog War Marshal. Yeah, this guy's pretty annoying to deal with. He can sometimes eat up a lot of removal and edicts and stuff like that. He's decent in combat because he gives you 3 bodies for 2 mana, so we're liking that. The trick with this card, the intricacies of playing him, involves when you want to pay the echo cost and when you don't, and how you want to combine him with Goblin Sledder to sacrifice and get some bonuses. So those are things to think about. We're playing 3 Sparksmith. It's a creature heavy meta right now. There aren't a lot of low creature control decks and grindy decks. It's more people blitzing you with creatures and Peregrine Drake decks. So I think Sparksmith's a great choice. And typically I play 3 in the main deck and 1 in the sideboard. So depending on how effective he is in a given matchup, we can max out on him. Now he does damage you, so you got to take that into account. But I would say the majority of the time, the damage that he deals to us is worth the effect that you get out of him. And then Bushwhacker. Bushwhacker is one of the best creatures in this deck because he's just such a force multiplier. It's ridiculous. He lets you swing for double-digit damage on like turn 3 or turn 4, and it shortens the clock by a huge amount. So this guy is usually our finisher. 3 drops, we have Goblin Matron, fairly casual staple in this deck that searches up any other goblin card. So if we need a Bushwhacker, we got it. If we need a Sparksmith, we got it. If we need a Heel Cutter just to cut through their blocker, we've got it. I mean, anything you want, Goblin Matron gets it for you. And then I'm testing out, well, I guess I'm incorporating a single Goblin General. Yeah, it's fair to say I'm testing him out. He came by way of, I don't know, one of the Masters sets, Vintage Masters, I think. And he's a pseudo lord. He's kind of like a Bushwhacker, except he also pumps all of our guys' toughness, and he's a little bit slower. So this guy doesn't see much play, but we're playing 1 as a way of testing him out. I think that's fair to say. And then Heel Cutter. This one has been fairly welcomed with open arms since it showed up in the Khans of Tarkir block, and he's cool against decks that have few blockers, and a lot of the times they'll have weak blockers that trade or just gets run over, and then they'll have one significant blocker that is kind of stalling the board. So he's good at cutting through that, no pun intended. Our non-creature spells are very light in this deck. 4 Lightning Bolt, and then the 2 Searing Blaze. We're playing this for the same reason that we're playing Sparksmith. I think it's a creature-heavy meta right now, and things have warped to the point that Lightning Bolt is a more definitive removal spell. There's a lot of 3 toughness and lower that people care about now because things have gotten faster and cheaper in the metagame. Faster and cheaper creatures. So Bolt and Searing Blaze are a little more viable, I think, than they have been in the past. I want to try out Searing Blaze. It does some things for us, gets pesky blockers out of the way, and then also propels forward our game plan of reducing their life total to 0. So we're trying out 2, also trying out the 19th land to help them be a little better. But we'll see if it becomes a factor in the matches or not. Okay, this has gone on way too long. Let's rush through the sideboard. A 4th Sparksmith for creature mirrors. Smash the Smithereens. Kill Affinity. Martyr of Ashes. Kill Hexproof. Pyroblast. Kill Peregrine Drake. Kill Delver. And Raise. Kill lands. I actually don't know why if I want Raise or what I want it for. I saw it in some other sideboards in the 5-0 lists. So I imagine you want this against Tron or some Karoo type decks. I'm not too sold on it, and I'm playing 3, which is probably way too many for a person who's not sold on the card to begin with. But maybe we'll use it for something, I don't know. Lastly, Sylvok Lifestaff. This is an interesting one, namely against Burn and maybe Mirror matches. Super aggressive decks. Don't just bring this in because, oh, it's an aggressive deck I'm playing against. That's not going to work. This is when it's just a really close race, like it is with Burn and the Mirror. And you can pair it with your Mog Raiders and your Goblin Sledders to trigger an anti-lava spike every time you kill a guy. I mean, you put this on Mog War Marshal and you also have Sledder in play, you just won the match, okay? Congratulations. Alright guys, enjoy the matches! Hi folks, Jason Moore here. We're playing in a Pauper League, or not a Pauper League. I'm lying, we're playing in a 2-man queues. We've won the die roll. As you can see, we are playing Goblins. We will definitely keep this hand. And things are about to get ugly for our opponent because this on the play is going to wreck a lot of things that don't have a sweeper. So, I mean, we go Mog Raider into War Marshal, into Matron, into either 1-drop or 2-drop with Bushwhacker on the same turn is basically just about a lethal curve there. So, I'm loving that. But you never know, the opponent could have removal spell, removal spell, removal spell, removal spell, and we'll be in trouble too. So, blue-red it appears, so that narrows it down to a few things. I think it's still better to play the Mog War Marshal this turn. We might even go Conscripts Bushwhacker on turn 3 now. So we're going to sack this War Marshal to get the extra damage in since I'm not going to be paying the echo cost. So sack, choose target creature, that would be you, and sacrifice. Yep, and then we'll auto yield to this. He takes 2. If he just plays Island, oh, he's going to tap low. Okay, so it looks like maybe he's Izzet Fiend. So we're going to do some thinking on our turn. Whoa, Goblin General. Drew our sweet one of. It looks like he might have a lightning bolt up. So if I conscripts Bushwhacker, I attack him. He probably puts this in front of an X1. We let it trade, and we deal 9, dropping him to 10. Or I can play Matron and set up something. But Conscripts Bushwhacker puts 2 guys on the table. We could also play Goblin General. And then next turn, if the General for some reason lives, we do a lot of damage. He's not likely a counterspell deck here. What does Matron get? A Sparksmith? I don't think we need to do that. I think we can just set him up for a kill. So Goblin General, I attack with everything. If he blocks the Raider, I sack a Goblin into it. He takes 1. Then I play Conscripts Bushwhacker. And the General pumps everything to be a 2/2. And then Bushwhacker puts a lot... Well, that sounds pretty good. But I think actually the Bushwhacker play, even though it's kind of aggressive right now. It takes advantage of the fact that he's got a weak blocker on the table. He doesn't have a lot of mana. He might have the bolt for the conscripts. He's still taking 6 and losing his guy. So I think we're just going to make that really aggressive play while we can. And we probably took so long deciding that he's taking a vacation here. He might also be deciding, do I use my bolt now or what? But let's just make this play. This seems fine. Actually, I can matron up next turn and get another bushwhacker anyway, so I think that's probably pretty great too. So anything he bolts, I can put into another guy. I think I'll let the raider trade if he wants. Yeah, I'm fine taking the delver out, so let's make him take 9. If he tries to bolt, I can save the raider, but yeah, that's a pretty good turn. I mean, just a huge swing. He bolts EOT. Yeah, maybe that's good. So I could matron into a 1-drop. I think we just attack for 3. I can play general. And then, so he goes to 9. I played general. If I draw land, he's definitely dead, but if not, this is a lethal attack too, so I'll play general. It might get countered. He might not exactly, no, he's Fiend. So, this represents a lethal attack. I think he's going to have Cyclops here. Or not. I think he's still Fiend though. Brainstorm, Delver, Bolt can all go into Izzet Fiend. So let's see what he did. It's just digging. He's probably putting those 2 cards on the bottom. Bottom. Another Ponder. Okay. So all he can have here is a Bolt or a Delver, which is, you know, somewhat likely. But he also needs to survive the onslaught that comes after that. Wow, he's really digging here. And he found nothing, so the Goblin General represented a lethal attack. Okay. So, now what? He's probably bringing in Electrickery. If we can make ourselves a little less bad against that, we're probably in good shape. So I think cutting Foundry Street Denizen is actually... we still want to race him, though. So that might not be the best. What I really want to bring in here is the Sparksmith and the Pyroblasts. So if I can make that happen, I'll gladly do so. Heel Cutter's probably okay, because he can get around the 1/4 Defender. Doesn't die to Electrickery. Denizen dies to Electrickery, dies to Bolt, trades with everything. We're going to be less likely to get in with it because he can resolve a Kiln Fiend before we can... Well, we don't mind trading him, though. I think I'm still going to cut him because I think he's still probably worse than Pyroblast and Sparksmith. Sparksmith can just lock him out, and Pyroblast can kill Delvers and Nivix Cyclops. Oops, did I click on Raise? I definitely don't want Raise. So we're down by 3 creatures. Martyr's a little too slow. It's a little too hesitant. It makes us hold back a lot of cards. I want to try Searing Blaze out here. Does kill Kiln Fiends. It can kill a Nivix Cyclops if he blocks. So he's going to play first. Let's see if he keeps 7 cards. Ooh, look at our hand. He keeps 7 cards. Alright, well, I mean, we could take a huge risk here and try and draw a mountain off the top, but that would be pretty stupid. So let's go ahead and mulligan this. Still no lands. What the hell? Yeah, we're going to have to go to 5 on the draw, which is not too bad, but... There's one land, and we've got some removal, so I guess we can keep this. And I'm going to bottom that because I really want a mountain. Or just a 2/2 1 drop and then a mountain after that. This hand can get there, but it's going to be really tough. We need to draw some pretty great stuff in the right order. Okay. Gitaxian Probe for blue. Well, now you know. Now you know what you're dealing with. 5 brutal ass red cards. Okay, he's writing it down. I'm not, well, let's see. If I don't draw, yeah, I'm just going to play this really sad turn 1 Bushwhacker and kind of cry. But we need to, it's the reason we're doing this, we need to be using our mana as much as possible. By missing land drops, okay, this is Electrickery City. He has no turn 2 play and no turn, no turn 1 threat and no turn 2 threat. He's holding Electrickery. Now he's going to play, okay, he's got Cyclops. Well, I found a land, but I'm just going to attack first. So what is in your hand, sir? Does he also have Dispel backup? That would be pretty sad. Wow, he really does. How ridiculous is that? Jeez, you bastard. Well, I couldn't bolt it. Sparksmith probably not going to get there. I don't think we're going to get to 4 guys close enough. I'm almost willing to attack into this and bolt. Yeah, I am willing to do that. Mutagenic Growth wrecks that, but I really think he has Electrickery as well. So if I just play Sparksmith, he's going to cast Electrickery and get in for at least about 7 or maybe more. So I'll attack. We don't really have a choice. If he doesn't block, we probably still have to play the Sparksmith. But if he does block, it kind of means either he's got another one, another Cyclops, or he's got the Mutagenic Growth. Looks like he's got neither, and he's just going to keep his guy alive, and it looks like we're going to die to Electrickery. But again, we have to use our mana. We're kind of flooded at 3, so leaving the 2 drops in our hand is only going to be bad for us as time goes on. If he has the Electrickery, at least we get it out of his hand, and we're setting him up next turn where we can activate Sparksmith and bolt the Cyclops, so maybe that's something, but this is Electrickery, so it doesn't matter. Yep, we had the read on that, so that's one good thing. We could at least see what the opponent had. And what is this? I don't know. Could be Battle Rage. Gush. Okay. Yep, that's game. Well, that is how Izzet Fiend gets there, and they got us. Pretty rough mulligan, but our hand was okay anyway. He just had what he needed. He had the Dispel at the right time, he had the Electrickery, and he had the Battle Rage, so we lose in that scenario. Let's submit. So, yeah, we'll play first, of course. And yeah, we'll keep this hand. It's pretty robust against Electrickery, and if we find that second land, the Searing Blade should be 6, so should the Bushwhacker. And we can live off of 1 land for a while. He goes to 6, he's on the draw. These all improve our chances right off the bat, so let's do it. I'm not sure why it doesn't... Okay. And he's not going to interact with either of our early turns. Bottom, bottom. That's kind of a good sign too. Alright, only one land, but we really need that second land. But we're still on the board, and he's playing from behind, so. Yep, he doesn't have a guy yet. Or, he's even looking for lands at this point, but I'm sure he'll find one. But still, we're looking good. The slower he is to begin, the better off we are. And even if we're just on one land for a while, by the time we hit 2 lands, we have all these spells to work with. So, okay, he's not even hydroblasting or anything. He's gonna shuffle, I bet. Yeah, because whatever 2 cards he put on top, he probably doesn't want. Yeah, we're still on one land, as you can see, but still not looking too bad here. He's probably got Cyclops next. Yep. So I don't know what we're gonna do. Oh, no Cyclops yet. Man, he's in trouble. Bottom. Okay, he's got a guy or an electricity or a bolt. Oh, another preordain. Okay. So he's not gonna be able to cast electricity this turn with overload. Now he tops both, so he's feeling pretty good here. Yeah, we're just gonna keep playing guys, so we need to keep attacking. I think he has a bolt here. If he double topped, then kind of makes sense. Yeah, so we'll sack that to make the sledder bigger. So we don't lose out too badly, but if he has electricity, I guess that only kills one guy. He's down to 10. I think next turn is either electricity or Cyclops. We will have to see. Okay. Gain a life. Cyclops. No, preordain. So he top. Did he top the preordain and the bolt? Bottom top. Now I think he has electricity. So we're probably better off playing War Marshal, and he knows about the Searing Blaze now too. We're probably better off playing War Marshal than we are playing Bushwhacker. Oh no, he's not going to have up both land. Yeah, so Bushwhacker is 9 damage. Drops him to 2, so Searing Blaze will be lethal if we ever find another land, or Bolt would be lethal. So I guess we'll make that play if we draw the land. If we don't draw the land, we will play Mog Raider, and we'll lose a couple guys to the electricity, but he'll be at 7 life. He can't do much. He can have a bolt. Alright, we'll just play this. He might have another bolt, which might actually be good enough. We've actually missed our second land far too many times here. But if he takes 4, that might be okay. The good thing is we play the creature every turn. But other than that, there is no good thing. Electricity is brutal if he also has this bolt. Nope. He doesn't have a second bolt. Yeah, he does. Okay. I'll target you. I'll sack you. Yeah, so we kind of lose out if he plays electricity. Yeah, he's just gonna do it. Okay, so we lose 2 guys. Sack. Sack. Not great. He's yet to see a creature, but I'm sure he'll play one now. But we can Searing Blaze it if we find that damn mountain. He's at 8. It's a little ways off from being a good spot for us. He's going to play something. Gush. Yep. And he's going to play an Ivic Cyclops, let me guess. Yep. Well, we can still drop Pyroblast, I guess. Yep. Alright, let's, what do we want to do here? If I attack, he knows it's Searing Blaze. He could block and then I could Searing Blaze, or he could not block and then just play Mog War Marshal. So I'm going to do that. We could also play Sparksmith, but you saw what happened before. He just removed the blockers and got in for a perfect amount. So let's just play War Marshal. And if he doesn't have the perfect amount, we can just chump block. Perfect amount of everything, Battle Rage and all that. So plus this War Marshal stays as a dude, as a, whatever. Flame Slash to what? Okay. So I guess I pump the War Marshal. Though I'm not going to pay the echo costs, I do have Goblin Bushwhacker around. But he looks like he's not going to attack. So is he setting me up for Electrickery? What do I do? Can I beat another Electrickery? That's the question. And he didn't attack. If he had the Electrickery, he actually probably could have attacked there. So... and he has 4 cards in hand. He has Electrickery mana open, and he hasn't played anything else. So I think the likelihood is pretty high. I could pay the echo cost this one time. We're not killing him this turn no matter what we do, but we're also not adding to the board. Yeah, Sparksmith just gets obliterated. I think I'm going to pay it. It's probably just too scared of a play to make, but for now I'll pay it so we don't completely get obliterated. I could play Sparksmith now and make him do something. Yeah, I think I'll play Sparksmith next. I have 3 of them. He's gonna have to do something. Wow, he's got the kill? Jeez. Well, okay, nothing we did would have mattered. He's just got it all, baby. Every deck is too broken for every deck I play. It's just too broken. Okay, guys, that didn't go so well, but we'll be back for more. Thank you. Okay, second round in the Pauper 2-mans. Let's play first. And his hand is land heavy, but we're still going to keep it. Hopefully we can do something with those lands, draw a Matron or something, and really get into the game. Opponent kept 7. We wished him good luck, so let's begin. Denizen into War Marshal is a pretty good start. We just need to hit some heaters after that. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, game 1 kind of goes the same way every time, and by that I mean... I think we play War Marshal here. By that I mean, we're doing fine, just bashing him until he draws Armadillo Cloak, and then there's absolutely no answer, so... that's how I expect this to go. Pretty much every creature mirror game 1 against Hexproof. Doing good, but they have Armadillo Cloak game 1. Every single time. Okay, we attack for 3, see if he blocks. On turn 2, I'm probably just going to let the War Marshal die in case we draw something else. We get a buff out of the Foundry Street Denizen anyway. Being on the play does help us. Well, we missed a land? No, he didn't. Just kidding. But he didn't do anything else. Yeah, I think I'll just let it die. It's fine. Get a little pump. And we drew nothing but lands. So, still gonna suicide in. Matron will still be good for us. We could play Matron, get a Matron, then cast the Matron and get Goblin Bushwhacker. I'll play that all in the same turn. I think I might bolt him next, but I guess we have enough lands that we can pretty much bolt him at any time. So he's still opting not to block. Maybe this is a Gnarlid or a Mask. Okay. Still does nothing for him. Really hoping to draw a guy so the cohort can get in. Don't think I'm going to bolt him. Don't think so. Well, I don't think this works because I can't target that. Alright, I'm going to hold the last land in case he draws Aura Gnarlid at any point ever, and then we can play the land and use the Searing Blaze. Right now it's just a 1 damage spell if we can target something. You have to have a valid target to be able to cast it, I believe. I think he's going to play another Mask, so it's got to be a 5/5. A Rancor. Okay. So if we make any other attacks, we're just suiciding through. But we're probably going to do that because we've got some burn now. Ooh. Jeez, how big is that? 11. My word. Well, could really use that dang Matron now. Sledder. I think I can kill now. 2. So he blocks Foundry Street or Cohort. 3, 4, 5. I think I'm short 1 point. Is that awful or what? I think I'm short 1 point. 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm short 1 point. Okay, well, this is going to go down to the wire. But that's how it always is with Hexproof. It's always down to the wire. I mean, he gets a free block. I get a free point of damage, but again, let's just confirm. This is 2 plus the 2 here, 4, 5. We can only do 6. And let me see if I can Searing Blaze him. No, it just doesn't work. Okay, so we're not going to do that. We'll pump this token, sack this goblin, and hope to hell he doesn't just deal 20. I mean, I think he definitely can if he has the right thing next. So we just hold. And I think we have him next turn, but it might not be quick enough. He would need a 3rd Mask. This might do it. 16, okay. 16 is not enough. Okay, 16. I can deal with 16. Alright. So let's just go for the victory. Alright, we kind of escaped this one with this by the skin of our teeth. He didn't have his white mana for all the ethereal armors and cloaks in his hand, so fair enough. He's going to try and make it so we miss the attack step. I think we're good here. There's basically nothing that can happen unless he plays fog effects. Okay. So I'll just sack that token and get him. Cool. Let's go to sideboarding now. So Searing Blaze pretty dead in our hands. Same with Sparksmith. Sparksmith not too great. We might actually want to play Raise and blow up his lands that that have Utopia Sprawls on them. Yeah, we want Martyr of Ashes, obviously. We'll play 2 copies of Raise. I don't think it's great. Life Staff kind of makes us faster, and we can gain life. But I think Raise might be better. Let's see, because it can knock him off of white, and it can also knock off a bunch of auras depending on the draw that he has. So let's just try it. I don't know that it's ideal, but we're basically banking on Martyr of Ashes to hit the table fast enough for us to wipe his board. It's very awkward. I will admit. There she is. I might just lead with her. We gotta figure it out, and I'm not confident that I can, but yeah, we're definitely keeping this hand. This hand is quite good. I'll keep. He mulligans. He goes to 5. Keep going, keep going. The more he mulligans, the better our Martyr could end up being. He keeps 5. What did he do? Okay, he's got his guy. Oh no, he's got his Utopia Sprawl. Well, alright, so we have to think now. I mean, there's just no way to get around it. He could have no guys, but let's just assume he's got a guy. Next turn he can go Boggle with armor on it, so it won't matter that we have the Martyr. Actually, it will, because the thing will only be a 3/3. So we can untap, activate the Martyr. I'm just going to play the Martyr. What is he going to do to it? He's not going to do jack diddly squat to it, I don't think. I mean, he could have brought in some journeys or something, but I'm going to try and lock him out of playing anything. And then in the meantime, I get to play stuff and attack him, and it just pressures him a little more. So we'll try this. So it's an Aura Gnarlid? Or is it a guy with a bunch of auras on it? Yeah, so it looks like maybe this was the right call. It's a Ledge Walker with nothing. Alright, so this is what I do. I offer the trade. If he takes the trade, that's okay, because he only has 2 cards left. I think we're okay. We play 2 more guys. If he doesn't take the trade, then we got in for 1, and then we can just activate it. We have more flexibility. Doesn't take the trade. So I'll just wait, and then maybe end step kill her or do something. And also next turn I can still play a guy, but I'd be killing my own guy. 3 cards. I mean, we don't necessarily want to hesitate anymore. We can just explode onto the board. I think I'm willing to play 1 guy and then kill it, you know. So I'm gonna do that. Since we're winning as long as this continues. And it's an even trade if he goes for an aura. We lose 2 cards, he loses 2 cards. I can also just do it for 1 and my cohort lives. There's a lot here that can be done. I might just, yeah, I'll just do it for 1. So that worked out pretty well. We got a 2 for 1. And now we get to go ham and eggs on him. And play 2 guys, play 3 guys really, Bushwhacker. And this is a lot of damage. 9 damage, half of his life total, and I don't think he'll... I mean, he'd have to play a guy and cloak it. He doesn't even have the mana to do that right now. So we might just drop 20 on this guy. He's at 9. So we can Heal Cutter next turn and Bolt, and that's lethal. Heal Cutter does not target his Hexproof guy, but I think between our Sledders and all that, we should be fine. We had a great hand. Our hand was superb. His mulligan to 5 kind of screwed him. Our hand was excellent. Martyr of Ashes put him in a real weird spot too. Yep, the only thing you could have here is a 1-drop with lifelink on it. That doesn't even do anything. We can sack the guy that's going to get lifelink. It's only going to get 1 point of lifelink. It really doesn't matter. I think he has nothing here unless he has a fog. So that's about it. And when you dash, it obviously gets haste. Yes. Okay. So adding red, that's terrifying. Electrickery, that is terrifying. So we're losing 2 guys no matter what. I think he's actually still dead. And 3. It's 6 exactly, yeah. He had Electrickery. That's pretty nuts. We still have the win though. That was insane. Electrickery. Well, let's dash through the snow here. Dashing through the snow. Send 1 bolt on its way. Alright, kind of redeem ourselves from the first round loss. And get some points. Hey guys, I believe this is our last round here playing Goblins, and we're on the play again, just running good in that respect. And this is a decent hand, 4 lands, a little bit heavy, but we're just going to hope to draw a bunch of spells from here. The start is pretty impressive, so, well, it's what we want. Definitely what we want. Early pressure followed up by more pressure, little bit of synergy, a little bit of utility. Opponent mulligans to 6. Let's just see if they put a card on top. So in some respect they got what they're looking for, and we'll see if they can hang with us. Maybe a Delver, maybe a manipulation spell. So still fairly open as to what they could have bottom. They could be searching for some type of removal. Now before we go to attacks, we do need to cast at least 1 guy. I almost went right to attacks, but stopped myself just in time there. So now we know we're going to have a guy to cast next turn to keep our attacks going, so that's fantastic. If he's a mono blue deck, he's going to have one hell of a time trying to stop this onslaught, because 3 guys on the board is already just so much pressure for a mono blue deck to deal with. They're going to have, like I said, a hell of a time trying to get rid of all of that. So it looks like he might be mono blue, and he's still fishing. He's not going to leave up much, and he's bottoming all through the night. It's not going to have much in the way of getting in front of this. So he has seen 3 preordained, so he's going to be set up pretty well. He might have a Spire Golem coming down for us next turn. He kept 1 card out of all 3 preordains. He kept a total of 1 card. I think I'm just going to dump my hand here. I really don't see a point in holding back. Well, It's 3 creatures that get to attack if I just hold back one guy, right? So best case scenario for him is he plays Stormbound, or not Stormbound guy, Spire Golem, and I don't draw a creature. Then I'm just sitting and basically not attacking. But if I hold the Mog Raider, I can attack with everybody and get in for 5 damage. So I'm going to hold it. It's 1 less point of damage if we do draw a creature, but it's 5 more damage if we don't. So I think we're fine with that. So he does have the Golem. We have a Bushwhacker now. I think that damn near kills him. 3, 6, 8, 11. Yeah, he's gone. He's all the way gone. So we'll play the land just to get around days. This is over. I mean, it's over. We just stormed through game 1. That was just absolutely brutal. Turn 4 kill. He's doing the math. And 3, 6, 8, 10, 12. We sack the creature that he blocks and it's over. Alright, so much for that. So now we want to cut some of our more expensive stuff like Goblin General, a 3 mana, get countered, die to any removal spell, don't do anything when it hits play, just needs to go. Also, the Foundry Street Denizen trades with every creature under the sun, trades with Fairy Miscreant. I mean, that's just pathetic. Get him out of here. We're going to play 3 Pyroblasts. We're going to play a 4th Sparksmith. And I think we'll play 1 Smash to Smithereens. Still 31 creature threats. I think the rest of the threats are all pretty good just by the looks of it. Matron at least gets some value out of them. This guy can get through Spire Golem. Searing Blaze seems like it might be pretty sick. Sparksmith can be insane. And 1 Smash kind of shores up our weakness to a 2/4 flying artifact creature. So it's a lot of 1 mana removal for Delver of Secrets. I like it. So let's try this for now. This guy might be expensive to keep casting for 3 mana each turn. We probably don't want to cast him for 4 mana. And maybe we'll actually get to see Searing Blaze do something. We don't have one in hand yet. This is a snap keep. He kept as well. So 2 Mog War Marshals, that's going to be sweet. I think we just kill the Delver right off the jump. It's going to put a big hole in his ability to manage our board later. For instance, he might be able to... Okay, maybe he has days here. So that's not terrible for us either. It is good for him to keep the Delver, especially if it flips here. Lets him race. It lets him do a lot of stuff, but... So we have to get on the board in a big way. I think it's actually in our best interest to play Mog War Marshal here. And just try and avoid a second daze. He's sitting there like he's thinking about it, but... Okay, we still might be able to race. I mean, we could obviously find another removal spell at some point. We'll see what happens. I mean, if he goes for Ninja or something, that's actually worse for him than his current position. Okay, we're not paying. So we'll probably attack first. Found a land, and I think we're gonna bait with the cohort. It is gonna get eaten by a Spell Stutter Sprite, but it gives us more guys on the table. So, oh, just a counter spell. So that's a better situation. We are kind of losing to this Delver, but the more business we get, the better off we'll be. And then also a removal spell will do maybe work wonders for us. Okay, so I am going to pay the Echo cost this time. We have more 1 and 2 mana spells than 3 mana at this point. Alright, so we attack with everything. We throw the bolt at his Delver on his upkeep. Kind of make him have it. Yeah, let's go to... Uh-oh, I'm kind of frozen. Maybe not. Maybe we're just waiting on him. So we throw this at the Delver on his upkeep, so it makes him tap low, and hopefully we draw something really useful on our next turn that punishes him. Either Matron or Bushwhacker or Another removal spell. Oh, we got the Delver. Look at this. This is sick. Okay, he's got nothing. Um, yeah, I think we just attack him. I mean, what's he gonna do to this board? Maybe he has Echoing Truth. I don't think I'm gonna throw Sledder out there. And I think I might. I'm gonna hold at least one mountain for Searing Blaze. Seems like he's just flooded. He should probably have gushed a turn or two ago. Alright, now we're definitely gonna bait because this is looking crazy. What the hell's going on? Well, go with God, my friend. Okay, he had something. Gush, right? That makes sense. Though he should have gushed a long time ago. Okay, he got the counter, but we did get Sledder down. I don't think there's any reason to pump, because we'd be sacking the War Marshal anyway. Again, I am saving this land for potential Searing Blaze. We set him back 2 lands. We're in a fantastic position. Absolutely fantastic position. This just spiraled way out of control for him. And like I mentioned about him having a hell of a time dealing with the board, what does blue have that deals with a bunch of creatures? They have very few things. Yeah, I'm fine losing one. I don't want to lose the creature permanently. So yeah, you can Vapor Snag that. I think that's fine. He'd probably be better off going for a token. And he is digging. I mean, he's gonna need some stuff. It's not impossible, but he's gonna need some stuff here. And he's got to plan it just about perfectly. All his future turns. What did he do? Bottom top. So okay, I'm not seeing a creature coming down. It's very weird. Yeah, let's just go in with the attack first. He knows about Goblin Sledder. I actually kind of want Goblin Sledder to resolve so we can get around any potential blockers and potential Echoing Truth. So I'm going to bait with Mog Conscripts first. He's at 3. And yeah. Okay, so now we'll try and get Sledder down. Again, still saving the mountain for Searing Blaze. Okay, he had double counter. Okay, let's see what happens here. I still don't think he's going to be in great shape. He could have a Spire Golem. 2 mana. Yeah, it's Spire Golem. So he would go to 1 here, and he just concedes. Well, he wasn't dead on board. I don't know what I would have drawn because he conceded right away. But that does wrap up that last match, and that wraps up our run with Goblins here. We ended up 2-1. And we beat Hexproof, which I'm happy with. And Delver, I've traditionally, and I mean all the way dating back to probably 2012 or 2013, I've traditionally felt very comfortable playing against Delver with Goblins. It feels like a strong matchup. You're constantly pressuring them, forcing them to have the right answers. And in blue only, they usually don't have a lot of the right answers to stop just a swarm of cheap creatures that are annoying, each of them in their own right. So and then we have cheap interaction for them. We have Pyroblasts and Lightning Bolts. We can fight them at instant speed and kind of throw them off their game a little bit. They're used to beating sorcery speed expensive people with cheap instant speed, and we have just as cheap, if not cheaper, instant speed tricks that we can incorporate as well. And then we did lose our first match, I believe, and that just came down to, well, I actually don't fully remember the first match, but I'm sure you guys saw it and saw what happened, how it unfolded. This seems like a moderately decent choice for the current metagame. The problem with this deck is it's still technically a fair deck. You're not gonna have an oops I win card that you can draw off the top and just take people down with. I think we lost to Nivik Cyclops deck, and that deck kind of does have those sequences where you can preordain and find Teamer Battle Rage, and oh, I also have this free Gitaxian Probe in my hand, so oops, I win. That kind of thing. Goblins doesn't have that. It just has a very fierce and robust sort of blitz strategy that pressures people and forces them off of their preferred axis sometimes, off balance, and that can be valuable too in this metagame. I don't think it's a tier one, option right now, but it's consistently done well for me in all the years I've played Pauper. I've never been depressed or I've never been, what is the word, disconcerted about playing goblins. It always feels like a fairly strong choice. Anyway, I've been talking for way too long. I hope you guys had fun watching these matches. I would like to thank you very much for tuning in to this installment of That's right, Dime a Dozen.